Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio, everybody. What is going on? It is Gail here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi video. And today we are here to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the anime by checking out the 10th anniversary project, which isn't a brand new anime. Well, it turns out that expectations from our side was a bit too high, and what we actually ended up getting is something far less than what I would personally consider big. Now, of course, this is a very subjective thing, and I would like to say that please don't go over to Twitter or any other part of their socials to, hurl abuse or insults towards them. I mean, at the end of the day, they think this is a big project, and that's absolutely fine. This is something I mentioned even in my video yesterday, that of course I feel like there's a discrepancy between what we consider a anniversary project versus what the studios and production committees think is a big anniversary project, of course, right? I reference to stuff like Persona and everything, right? This is one of those cases. I feel this is one of those cases where I feel like there's a discrepancy between the two entities, shall we say, the community and of course the studio. I am actually quite curious to see what exactly the Japanese think of these projects as well, because they'll have their own thoughts, of course, right? I am curious to see, do they like it, dislike it, do they feel the same as us? But we're gonna have to wait and see on that. But getting to the point, and of course you guys might be wondering, Gail, what the hell is even the 10th anniversary project? You haven't even said anything. The 10th anniversary project is basically three things. It's three things in one, basically. So first and foremost, we have a big thank you artwork here, as you can see, with Eyes, Bell, Hestia and everything, and you have a bunch of words from a bunch of the VAs, and we'll check it out. Of course, we'll go one by one, we'll read what they have to say and everything. But basically, the first part of the anniversary project is a big thank you from everybody, from Fujino Mori, Matsuoka, Inori Minase, Sayori Onishi, and so on and so forth. The entire cast of Danmachi, basically, all or near enough the entire cast of Danmachi, of course, right? So that's pretty cool as well. The staff will also be adding their own words as well, sooner rather than later. That's coming soon. Along with that, you have 3 episodes of Danmachi. Basically, Danmachi Season 1, Episodes 1, 2, and 3 is what I gather here. And they are currently airing for free on YouTube, and they will be airing between the 4th of April to the 10th of April. But what makes these episodes very unique, and I actually kind of like this, I do like this quite a lot, is that these are all featuring audio commentary from Matsuoka-san, Inori Minase-san, and Sayori Onishi-san. So the voices of Bell, Hestia, and Eyes will be commentating over the episodes, which I think is pretty sick. I actually want to just quickly check before we go anywhere. I really do want to just see if there is subtitles here. Hopefully there is. Let's see. It's auto-generated in Japanese, which means you'll have to auto-generate the English translations. Kind of annoying, but I wish there was subtitles for all, for Japanese, English, and also some other languages as well. That would be amazing, because it would just help us also be able to read it properly and everything. I mean, of course, YouTube's auto-generation should be a bit better. Obviously, as time has gone on, it's gotten a lot better. It should be okay, but it would have been just nice if they had given us the English subtitles as well. I'll definitely be checking it out, and I'll be actually kind of probably doing a semi-review of it down the line. It's an hour long, so I need to spare some time to actually just watch the entire thing on its own. But yeah, that's something that we can kind of take a look at and look forward to, I suppose, of course, right? It's something that we can take a look at and see how it all goes, right? But yeah, I think that's very, very cool, and it's going to be very, very exciting, of course. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what exactly what exactly is said there. And then one more thing, and the final thing of the entire anniversary project, is that there's going to be a fan meeting next month on the 10th of, or 9th of May, I should say. I said 10th of May, I thought it was 10th of May, but it's 9th of May. On the 9th of May, there is a fan meeting happening where you can ask the anime staff any questions you want. I mean, this would be a great opportunity to ask them certain questions, like about Sword Art Toria and stuff like that. But yeah, basically, it's going to be there's going to be a fan meeting happening next month, and it's going to be with the staff exclusively. It's going to be only with the staff, which I am quite curious to see how many people end up turning out, because usually whenever we see people going to these events, it's mainly for the voice actors and actresses. So I'm quite curious to see who ends up turning up for this one, because it's going to be only the staff, if I'm not mistaken, the main head honchos, if I'm not mistaken, the director of JC Staff, or the director of JC Staff, as in like the director of the anime at JC Staff, the director of the anime at Egg Firm, and the production committee's heads from Warner Bros. So it's going to be very interesting to see who ends up turning up there, and I really hope some people end up asking the brilliant question of where stuff like Sword Rotoria is and everything and all that sort of jazz, with how cut content is handled and everything, because it'll be very interesting to see, assuming people even ask that, and they're not just glazing them. I'm hoping somebody asks them that. But yeah, this is basically the 10th anniversary project. Am I disappointed? I'd lie if I'm saying I'm not disappointed. I would be lying tremendously if I said I'm not disappointed. However, was I expecting this to happen? Yes, I did say that it was a small chance that this could happen and that we might see this, and this might end up happening. Let me just translate the page into English as well so that we can actually read the VA comments as well. I said that this was not impossible from happening. I generally said that it was very likely to happen, and it did end up happening. Now, like I said, I do think it's a case of differences in expectations and subjectiveness, but I can't deny that we're all going to be disappointed. I think everybody's going to be disappointed. I think we're expecting something more. We were expecting some anime project. When you say big anniversary project, and the 10th anniversary of the anime, there's obviously expectations going to be placed on what you're willing to provide to us as an audience. Even the Japanese Twitter accounts kept saying, Japanese fan Twitter accounts kept saying, oh, is it anime? Is it Sword Art Toy, a Stray Record, Argonaut, something along those lines. People were asking for the Argonaut movie or an Ada's Vesta movie and stuff like that, and we ended up getting none of that, right? And it is going to be very, very disappointing and disheartening to see that. Obviously as a Danmachi fan, you want to just see your series grow leaps and bounds, and I feel like this would have been the perfect opportunity to give us something more, give us something above and beyond, finally let us get away from the main series shackles and do something different. At least that's what I was hoping for. I'm just gonna check my notifications just to see if there's anything else that we're seeing here, and it's just Battle Chronicle stuff, which I will address again. Like I said, I'm waiting to make a separate video for that. That's gonna come out soon. But yeah, I just wish it was something more. But anyways, let's start off with Matsuoka-san, of course, right here. Danmachi for myself is quite difficult, but if you say strongly, I think that you have been able to further refine your ability not to give up on a challenge. I myself have hit it with all my might from the bottom of my heart, and there were many things that I could have break it with all my might, but is it Bell's way of life? A boy who knew nothing, went through the hardships to die, and went ahead and grew up mentally and physically and made many friends, and was loved by the people of the town. I think that the attitude of sticking through is wonderful, and I think it gives vitality, or the words that naturally work hard come out, and that is where I personally admire it. Bell's favorite saying is, I'm asking for help, that's enough. It's easy to say, but it's not enough to be able to take action. After all, but Bell is a human being, but Bell is going to go to the ground, so he's not. I think there's some real bad translations. This is Google Translate, of course, it's going to be this ass, but I would love to see if somebody's able to translate all of these so that we can read it together, of course, right down the line. Because it would be nice. But of course, Inori Minase also says, Hessia was my first TV animation heroine. Was she? Actually, might be. Yeah, actually, it might be. I've come this far with the feeling that my new adventure has started with this work. I've put my own heart and feelings into the work so that the number of children will increase and family will become richer and more colorful. I hope that I can continue to walk this adventure story with Hestia in the future, and thank you. Obviously this is I think this is of course Sayuri Onishi, of course, right? But yeah, it is it's the same thing again, for me, Danmachi is a work that has given me many encounters and experiences. I remember vividly how nervous I was coming as a newcomer at the time of the audition, so I was surprised to hear that the anime series is celebrating its 10th anniversary. I would like to thank, of course, the staff, the cast, and Master Mori. Through eyes, I've experienced the things in the world of Danmachi that Sayori Onishi herself could never have experienced, and the days you have spent are all precious and important. Just as Eyes is getting stronger and stronger, I myself would like to step up and breathe life into Danmachi and I. So would we. I think we know you would. We know that you will definitely do it, but we need the production committee to actually do the same. It would be kind of nice. It would be kind of nice. This is Maya Uchida, I think, of course, right? The voice actress of Lily. I feel like I have a great sense of companionship with Lily, or I feel like I'm starting to understand what she's thinking, and it's also significant that I've been playing her for 10 long years every year. I mean, yeah, technically, yes, she's been playing her every year because of Danmimo, Dancro, and everything in between. Yeah, she has voiced her for 10 long years every single year that she's had to do some form of voice acting, because Lily has been in everything and anything, of course, right? Being one of the main characters, of course, right? This is Vel's VA as well, of course, right? It's the same thing, and Velf actually talks more about Amori Sensei, about how Amori is so kind and so helpful, and of course he tried to incorporate a little bit of that as well in Welf when he was voice acting as Welf as well, which is super nice. Oh wow, that's quite a one familiar. The recording studio is both a battlefield and a warm home. That's a lot of words there from you. I think that's Mikoto's VA. I respect it. Very eloquent, very very eloquent. Chisuga-san, this is of course Haruhime's VA. Congratulations on the 10th anniversary of the Danmachi anime. For me, Danmachi is a place that makes me grow up, and I was able to play the role of Haruhime as she became stronger and stronger. And I myself became stronger little by little. And just like Haruhime, I found myself being able to trust my friends. Hey, I respect that. I respect that. Everybody's very, very happy. Of course, again, this is to be expected, right? Everybody's gonna be super happy, of course, and celebrating 10 years, because I mean, 10 years of an anime series is still very insane, to be honest. I mean, very few shows get a second or third season, and especially, one where it goes for 10 years, and along with that you get so much work as well to be done with the games and everything as well. It's very, very amazing as well, to be honest. Of course, this is Sayuri Hayami. From the initial impression, there are changes as time goes by, and passionate feelings build up through battles and conversations where emotions swing wildly, and the occasional terrible gag can be accepted as something unique to this work. I am impressed year after year by the richness of Danmachi, and I'm glad that I was able to run through many of these impressive scenes with Miss Ryu. I'm very much looking forward to the further expansion of the Danmachi world as we celebrate the 10th anniversary. So am I, but it would be nice if we actually got more for the 10th anniversary, it would be nice. Obviously, Ishigami-san, voice actress of Seer, of course, right? I never thought that at first I would be able to spend the 10th anniversary with Seer-san, so I'm really grateful for that, and it's also returned to my roots when playing a pretty girl. I remember when I was a newcomer in the first season, I read the script every day and practiced each line dozens of times so I wouldn't bother the people around me. The Danmachi studio is where I learned a lot about how to behave as an actor, so every time the recording for the next season started, I would remember my first thoughts as I worked hard on the recording. So once again, congratulations on the 10th anniversary of Danmachi. I will continue to live on Orario as Seer-san, so please keep supporting me. Very, very nice, of course. The voice actress of Finn, of course, right? People have to remember that he's actually voiced by a female voice actress, which is still fine, of course, right? It makes sense with how Finn is, of course, right? Finn is a man in his 40s, and he's the leader of the most powerful family in the area, and he's also very popular with the women. There are a lot of speeches, and it was very difficult. I mean, yeah, bro, I can only imagine every time he would say a speech in Danmimo, sorry. Yeah, that would be something. That would be something. But love is easy to understand charm on the outside, but I also like the ambitious and somewhat frustrated side of him. So I worked hard to see how far I could go to bring that out. I think it was also very rewarding to discover I could do this kind of voice. It's a difficult role, but I'm really glad I met Finn. I'm really looking forward to the future of Danmachi. Now we have Lafia's VA as well over here, of course, right? Who obviously is a very integral part of the Danmachi franchise, purely because of, not necessarily because of what happened in Sword Art Autoria, but her continuous support of Danmimo. I think a lot of the fan base, of course, if you are into Danmachi and if you are into more so Danmimo as well, and I know so many of the community was into Danmimo, people will know Lafia's VA so much, like, because she's appeared in every single stream they've done, pretty much nearly every single stream. She had a bit of a break in between, but in like 70%, 65% of the live streams, she's been there always. I've been involved in the anime and the games a lot, as she says, and I feel comfortable in the atmosphere where the creators, led by the original author Omori Sensei, really love and cherish Danmachi, which reaches the readers and viewers along with the passion of the story and the reactions they get. As a Danmachi fan, I feel very happy about that. I also fell in love with many of the characters, including Luffy, and I always look forward to their stories. I hope that the episodes I want to see in the original series will continue to be adapted into the anime. Yes, please. Yes, Lafia, keep telling them that. Keep telling them that. Keep telling them that. It would be very, very appreciated, of course, right? It would be very appreciated. And then we, of course, have the new voice actors as well, with Hayden's VA right here, Nobunaga-san. And, of course... Oh, no, sorry. This is Hermes' VA. For some reason, it looked like Hayden's VA, Nobunaga. It was similar-ish. I got it wrong. My bad. But yeah, this is Hermes' VA, of course. The story of Belle, Hestia, and an unbelievable number of other characters with unbelievable personalities grabs my heart every time. Thank you for so much for bringing me to Hermes 10 years ago when I was still inexperienced and inexperienced. He says it twice over. I'm very happy to be involved in the work as the voice of Hermes, both in serious and humorous situations. Please let me continue to walk with you for many years to come. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, this dude is supposed to be, let's see here. I don't know who this VA is, actually. I think I want to say it's a Tarl's VA, but I could be wrong. I mean, if I could read Japanese, I would, but I don't have my phone right now, so I don't know who it is. You guys can let me know. I can't remember this VA, and I can't read Japanese, sadly. So you tell me. You tell me. I mean, I could try, but it will be completely wrong. I think it's a Charles VA, but I could be wrong. But yeah, like I said, I think it's cool to obviously have all of these, and of course, there's Omori's, Omori's own words right here, right, and everything. But again, I think this is a case of too many expectations, and us also having the expectations on that level. And maybe, again, I'm not saying it's our fault. I don't think it is our fault at all, and I don't want anybody to blame them. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm blaming us for it. I'm just saying that this is normal, is the unfortunate thing. There's always been this whole thing with Japanese studios and Japanese production committees feeling like this is a big thing, a big project, like doing something like this, obviously, versus obviously what we feel as well is considered a big project. It's always the case. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of you guys will also have your own thoughts and maybe thoughts of disappointment and stuff like that, and I think that's absolutely fair. Feel free to say whatever is on your mind. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Once again, appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. Like I said, I think this is just us as Danmachi fans. We're God's strongest warriors. We're God's strongest warriors. No. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I think this is just a thing that was kind of likely to happen, and it ended up happening, unfortunately. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, all that sort of good stuff, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.